Hey guys, KayakDIY here, and it's been a little while since I've gone and put up any content. You guys might be wondering why I haven't put up any content. Well, that's because we were down here in Southwest Florida dealing with Hurricane Irma, and that was not fun at all. I look terrible, and part of that is because I've been working long shifts and I've been trying to get this house fixed up after the Hurricane Irma. Hurricane Irma was not fun for any of us, just like Harvey wasn't fun for Texas. I appreciate that, Johnny. This was my first hurricane experience, and at first it was looking like we were going all out with one major hurricane, but we lucked out, and I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about that. So where I live, this is my dream house. This is the house we put everything into to try to be able to get this house. This house is on a canal, and this canal leads out into the Gulf Ocean area. It takes a little while to get there, and it's an older home, and that's how we were able to make it work financially. But because it's on a canal, with hurricanes, you have to worry about storm surge. Storm surge is when water comes up the canal, comes up the dock, and hits your house. And they were talking 9 feet of storm surge for our area. And they were saying that figure was above ground level, not above average water level. So that would have put the majority of this house underwater. That had me worried big time. I ended up having to work at the hospital because 2 days a week I work at a hospital, and I'm an IV specialist. I put IVs in. I had to work at the hospital on Friday. Then I had to rush home, and I had to finish up preparing the home. You'll see I still have hurricane shutters on some of these windows. We had to evacuate our house because they said we were in a mandatory evac area, and we had to find a place to go. And so we ended up going to another friend's house that was further inland, which didn't have the risk of storm surge, because storm surge seems to be the biggest killer. Granted, I know I have kayaks, and a lot of ambitious people were on the web talking about how they were going to take their kayaks around and go save people. You can do that, but you have to figure about the water current. You have to be smart, because otherwise you're just another victim. And me, myself, I wasn't looking for a photo opportunity in order to buzz around in kayaks. I was looking at keeping my family safe, and after the hurricane I can do what I can to help people, which the biggest help I can be is by going to the hospital and getting people IVs and such. Some of the big things we saw at the hospital were generators. People had generators in their homes, and they were running them, and it ended up gassing people out to the point where they were really in bad shape. So even though hurricane didn't kill a lot of people, maybe the hurricane afterwards was leading to some events that ended up killing people or coming close to it. Does the storm make me second guess living here? The thing is, I wouldn't want to live where my in-laws live. My in-laws live directly, like it's Gulf Ocean water that pretty much would come directly in, and they're at a much higher risk than we are. I don't know that I really want to live anywhere else. I still really like living here. It allows me to be able to get out on the water, do what I love, and be able to share more content with you. For one of the things I bought here, it was on my bucket list. I always wanted to have 2 things in life, and I made one of them happen already, and that was I wanted to have a house on the water. The house here is a 1964 build. It's nothing fancy, but it accomplishes that one goal. The other thing I wanted to have is I wanted to have a sailboat. I paid $250 for this sailboat with a trailer, no lie, 250 bucks. And so I'm fixing up the sailboat now to try to make it sailable. So those are the 2 things that I wanted. So I don't regret moving here. There's a lot of opportunities down here. The bad thing is hurricanes, but being on the Gulf Ocean side, there's a lower risk for the hurricanes than on the Miami side. It seems like Miami side gets hit a lot more. So, you know, there's some people that have said on the web, they said, you know, kind of serves those people right for living where the hurricanes are. You are right. Yes, it serves us right, but it still doesn't make it suck any less. We put a lot of time and effort into our homes just like other people do. And so we're growing attached to them. I know it's materialistic stuff, but it's our stuff that we worked really hard for. We put a lot of long hours into work to make things like this happen. You know, this area where I live is yeah, no risk, no reward. Exactly. So I'm not asking for everyone's sympathy on it. We're gonna get by. We're gonna be fine. We actually didn't have a significant amount of damage here. We lucked out. Obviously the screens tore. The screens always tear when you have crazy high winds like that. We lost some bushes, a few down tree branches, but for the most part our house did fine. Some areas though of this immediate area are still without power, and that's a problem. They didn't have a lot of gas. Gas was unavailable in many areas, and in fact, no lie, I kid you not, I got off work. I was working a long shift at the hospital, and I went to go get gas, and there was 2 entries into the gas station, and one of the entries was close to the road, and apparently people on the road were in line for the gas. I had no idea. I pulled into the one entry and there was 3 pumps open, so I didn't think anything of it. I didn't cut anyone off. I pulled in, got gas, had a guy run up to me and ask me, he says, "Do you want to die? Do you want to get shot?" And I tell you what, I'm not even gonna lie, I had about had it. I was tired, and I told him, I said, "I hope you have good aim and don't do me any favors." The guy kind of walked off a little bit confused with my response, but that was honestly my response. I had about had it for the day. But yeah, I had someone threaten to shoot me for getting gas. I was just trying to get enough gas to go to work. But anyway, yeah, this is my sailboat. Today, I was just trying to fiberglass some of this because they had a big cutout. And I found this gas tank on the side of the road for an outboard. So I'm in this whole sailboat, this 22-foot cabin cruiser sailboat. I think I'm in it for somewhere in the 300s right now. That's all I've spent on it. So it might look like I have crazy money or something, but really no. I find deals, that's all. I ended up making this kayak rack over here. I have some of the kayaks still in the garage from the hurricane. I have the Hobie Tandem Island that I bought, and Native VersaBoard, and a few other ones. They're still inside. I'm getting the Viking ProFish reload sent to me here to do some testing and playing around with. I think that's gonna become my primary paddle kayak for offshore, and gonna probably put like a fish finder on it and kind of keep it somewhat simple. I plan to get you guys some more kind of fishing on the water, camping on islands type videos, and so that's kind of the goal with the ProFish reload. I want to show a more traditional kayak in those environments and show you guys how I'm going to pack it. Let's see. I'm going to show you the inside of the house. The wife's not going to be happy about that, but I just want to show you kind of how we're living down here. So this is the inside of our house. Nothing crazy fancy, but we love it. I got 2 inflatable stand-up paddle boards there. The wife, she's hanging out on the couch. She's doing some reading. She's been working today. Got our dog Roxy, and yeah, the house is a mess because we had to move in a hurry. I mean, we didn't get a whole lot of time to really organize things. I'll show you the garage. The garage is probably the scariest part here right now from the hurricane. There's stuff everywhere. We just had to shove it in the garage, and we had to get out of the area. I got the Native VersaBoard somewhere underneath here. I got the Hobie 2017 Tandem Island in there, and everything is just kind of thrown in here. We didn't have time. I mean, between our work schedules and everything that was going on, we had no time to really organize stuff, and we just kind of had to throw it in there and hope for the best with the hurricane. So I'm being very transparent right now, just showing you everything, and that's nothing. Your garage is 100 times worse. Well, you're making me feel a little bit better. I have an office kind of in the house. This is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. I'll show you kind of what's going on in here. Ooh, that's really bright. Wife and I made this wall. It's a pallet wall. This is all my filming gear. I quickly was going through all that, sifting through what I wanted to take with me to protect and what I wasn't gonna, because just didn't have the space. I got an inverter here for the sailboat. I'll probably do like a little mini playlist for the sailboat that I'm doing, since it's such a cheap sailboat. It's practically the price of most kayaks, so I'll just share that with you. I never got another drone yet, but I had a company contact me. It's a Splash drone, and they're willing to give me 50% off of a drone just due to the channel. It's still going to be expensive, but the drone can take off from water, and so I think that's going to be a good fit for what I do here. I won't have to worry about it landing in the water because that's what it's meant to do. So the Splash Drone 3 runs, it's expensive. It's like 1,700 bucks or so, but I'll get it for 50% off. So I'm saving up to get that. I'm trying to make that happen so I can show you guys everything in context. I want to show you the kayak in the environment kind of, and show you what it's capable of. Oops, we're getting bad connection. Okay, hold on. I'm coming. Oh, we're losing connection. Okay, I don't know if we're back online yet with a better connection. We're still got a poor connection. Anyone on? Wow, that is a bad connection. Oh, it's stable now? Okay. Good. That's the other thing. Cell phones, the reception is terrible in this area right now post-hurricane. Some people have been switching carriers thinking that it's going to help. It doesn't help any. It just has to do with towers being down and a bunch of other things. So, yeah, that's the best we can do at the moment. I ordered another trolling motor, and I'm gonna have a trolling motor solar setup for off-grid. I'm planning that build, and I'm probably gonna use it for the Hobie Tandem Island. Sorry we got such a bad connection here. It's telling me I have 3 to 4 bars LTE, but I don't know. Okay, now it looks like it's better again. Sorry about that. It also probably didn't help. Yeah, so the water snake setup for the Mirage Drive, I have one sitting in the back of my truck right now. I bought another water snake motor, and so I am going to be building another kit, and then I'm going to try to make it where I can partner it with a solar panel. So I got a solar panel that is like semi-flexible, and I want to make it where it sits on the trampoline of the Tandem Island and can charge a battery. So when I go camping, I can then end up parking it and charging the battery. I had it on a Pro Angler 14 and it did really well. I did talk to some of the distributors that make the water snake motors, and they're gonna try to keep them available at the links that you find in my videos. I use the 24-pound thrust water snake, but my friend uses the 18, and he thinks the 18 just does fine. I mean, he has a whole bunch of Hobie kayaks. It's starting to rain now, so I gotta probably jump back in here. So I have a water snake T24, which is a 24-pound thrust, sitting at my house right now, and I have another plug adapter, and I'll be making a new kit for the Tandem Island. And what I'll do is I'll just have it connect into, oh yeah, the 24 is like the same size as the 18. So for a little bit more money, you get more pound thrust, and actually it doesn't weigh a whole lot more either. That whole kit that I built was with a 24-pound thrust motor, and it weighed less than a gallon of milk, and it fit in the front hatch of my my Pro Angler 14. So it's a very, very nice setup. You don't have to wiggle or do anything. You just directly drop it straight down. If you try any other motor, you might have to try to work hard and force it in. With the Water Snake, you don't have to force it in. The size battery that I use a 35 amp hour sealed battery. It's all in the link in the video description on the video that I made. I have links to all that stuff that I use. And what I want you to know is that's how I actually earn income doing this, is those links earn me a little bit of commission. You pay the same price that you would pay normally, and you're buying the same stuff I'm buying. It's just, that's how I earn commission, so I can afford to do this. Yeah, that vid has like over 120,000 views, I think. It's in the KayakDIY YouTube channel here that you're watching. So if you just take a look in the video description, I'll have links to all the supplies on how to do that. What I do recommend though is for cutting the pipe and shortening it, use a tube cutter, like a pipe cutter. It's a lot smoother, a lot easier. I used what I had, and I used a Dremel with a cutting bit. But I just try to sometimes show that you don't need fancy tools and equipment to do it. I try to use what I have. Yeah, so this is basically where I live. I got some fishing rods up there. I have some of my nicer fishing rods in my office area, which is a mess. Really, the whole house is a mess. Katie and I, my wife, we've both been working really hard, trying to fulfill the needs at the hospital. And so, did you make it stationary just to steer with rudder, or do you use the trolling handle? I recommend using the rudder system on the Hobie and keeping the motor stationary. I initially left it where it could rotate, but I ended up eventually changing that, and I made it to where it just kind of is fixed solid in line with the hull. That's the best way to go, because the Hobie rudder does fine with turning it and maneuvering it. Any other questions, guys? I'm gonna try to get you some more videos here. It's been crazy hectic. I mean, I'm getting maybe 3 to 4 hours of sleep some days, it seems like, and I'm exhausted. The reverse actually works pretty well too, and you can use the rudder with the reverse, I found. Yeah, the trolling motor, the Water Snake trolling motor, is just a 2-speed. So you got a high-low, and that high-low works for forward and reverse. So there's 2 switches, and you got your forward and reverse, and you got your high-low. So you can do essentially 4 different settings. You got speed 1 forward, speed 2 forward, speed 1 reverse, speed 2 reverse. I hope that makes sense. I'm talking to the guys at Bixpy, Bixpy. I did a video on them at iCast. It got over 50,000 views within a month. I'm talking to them about possibly getting one of them to also play around with and test. The cool thing about them is it's modular, so they make like a handheld one for snorkel, and then you can take that same Bixpy and you can attach it to like a stand-up paddleboard. They have a universal kayak mount, a bunch of them. They're pricier, but their battery actually floats, which is kind of cool. So, and they're cheaper than a Torqeedo motor. I do like the homemade Water Snake motors though. That's nice. Yeah, other than that, you're gonna probably see some videos about this as I fix it up. I've been just kind of cataloging the build that I'm doing. I haven't had to do anything too crazy. I haven't even gotten to the interior work yet, but yeah, the Torqeedo motors cost a ton. They're like $2,000 some. The Water Snake motor that I did max I think I've paid to build it was 180, so it saves you almost 1,800 bucks roughly. So yeah, I don't think Torquedo probably likes me at all, but I can't make everyone like me, I guess. And I'm gonna be real with you guys. If I wouldn't buy it, I'm not gonna tell you that you should buy it. I might give you information on it, but I'm not gonna say, hey, this is a buy, you should buy it. Because if I'm not gonna buy it, why would I tell people to buy it? But when I go to events like iCast, I try to show a little bit of everything. Oh, it definitely is nice. Yeah, they're definitely nice units. They actually make a bigger one that fits on the back of sailboats, like as a outboard. And I thought about that because then I could have multiple solar panels and I could be completely off grid, which would be awesome. I wouldn't have any dependency on gas. So I could buzz out of the canal. I mainly need the motor to be able to buzz out of the canal. That's what I need it for, because it's difficult to sail out of the canal. Even with the Hobie Tandem Island, I can't sail very well out of the canal because the canal isn't wide enough for me to tack back and forth. So it helps some to have the sail up, but not much. I'd say it's about 1.5 miles for me to get to open water from my canal system. And canal homes, by the way, are actually quite affordable down here. Some people also might just be thinking because I live on the water that I must be filthy rich. There's so much waterfront property here in Cape Coral. It's like a mini Venice, like everything's on the water. So, hey, if you guys are looking for retirement hotspots or anything, or you just want to like make the move early, Cape Coral is actually pretty awesome. Now granted, yes, you have hurricanes, but I'm told actually that there's not that many hurricanes that hit this area, that it's actually quite rare. And the way I look at it is this home is from 1964. So since 1964, there hasn't been anything crazy catastrophic, because this home wouldn't be original then. So it's all concrete block too, construction, concrete block, and then they're fitted with tracks. So there's a track here and a track here, and actually underneath this little sofa I have the aluminum panels or galvanized steel panels or whatever they are that pop up into these tracks, and all you do is you just put the bolts on. It's not crazy difficult. The only thing that's weird is the people that originally had this house did not put shutters on every single window. And so that was the other headache that I had here during Hurricane Irma when I was prepping. I had to run to Home Depot a bunch of times to try to find things to put on my windows to protect them, because I had 3 windows that had no shutters. And everyone took the plywood really quick because that's the most common thing that they put over windows. The people were putting fencing panels on their windows. They were putting like metal roofing panels. Anything that was pretty much square and harder material, they were putting over their windows. And they were taking Tapcon screws and screwing them into the concrete. I used metal roofing panels because that's all I could find at the time. So this hurricane basically was like training grounds for me to figure out how to better prep for a hurricane. But it also instilled a lot of confidence for me in my home. Because yes, we did get some high winds. In fact, it actually ripped off one of my makeshift shutters. That's how much winds we had. But my home, for the most part, did not have a lot of damage. So we were very blessed. And one thing I want to say, you guys don't have to have any religious affiliation. I'm all for everyone, but I come from a Christian background. In my church back in Iowa, I want to say right now, thank you to you guys back in Iowa for keeping us in your prayers. And they were actually talking to my parents, and they were talking about flying down to help us if there was any damage or issues. So I felt very supported by my church family back home, and then also by my subscribers and fans that were watching. A lot of them offered help. So the wife and I, it was nice to know that we had people that were concerned and wanting to help us out. So yeah, other than that, there's other YouTubers that are in this area. Mr. Zoffinger, Marty Zoffinger. He's up in Tampa. I think he seeks shelter into some friend's place or so, and he strung up a hammock and hung out there with his dogs. But from what I hear, he's living on a boat. I heard his boat, I think, was okay, but the property where he moors his boat had some damage. Our friends up in Pensacola, Ty and Teresa, 30 miles out, I believe they're doing okay. I don't think they got hit with anything catastrophic. Basically, by the time it hit us, the hurricane dropped down to a Category 2. It was like we got hit with some Category 3 bands, but for the most part it was Category 2. And because it went inland more and not off the Gulf, if it was off the Gulf, we would have got more storm surge pushing water into our canal system. Our canal actually emptied significantly when the hurricane was south of us. It was sucking water out of the canal, and it sucked about half the water almost. And then when the hurricane got even with us and like started going north of us, it wanted to push all that water back in. That's when the storm surge happens. But luckily it had lost a lot of its power and it went more inland, so we didn't get the storm surge. We did have water up to about the second step on our dock. So water didn't even get over the grass here, but it did get up to like the second step, and it did go over the seawall some. So the seawall here was underwater. The kayak launch was underwater. Yeah, as far as prepping, I mean, I tied cables around the tree and tied the sailboat basically to the tree. And then the sailboat has a water holding tank. I filled that with water to try to make it as heavy as I could so that the sailboat wouldn't blow into any of the houses here, because that was a big concern of mine. I mean, ultimately, if I had to lose the sailboat, so be it. I only paid $250 for the sailboat, but I really didn't want to lose it. I was hoping I wouldn't, and luckily I lucked out on that, because it's kind of a fun little project to play around with. And my plan is to have it on the davits. So I have these cranes here, these davit cranes that I put in. I got those for free. I just had to have a friend help me, and we got them mounted on there. So these davits will be able to connect up to the sailboat and hold it in place. I just have to have good bottom painting to prevent algae growth and all that stuff, because that can eat away at the bottom of the boat. I probably could lift it with the davits, but it depends. I have to look about where I can mount some fittings, and I would need to have good backing plates, which is something actually we talk about when I'm working on kayaks, because some of the rod holders that you mount on kayaks, if they're gonna have a lot of stress on them, it's good to have backing plates on there. It disperses some of the stress. Let's see, what else is, other than that, I really can't think of a whole lot, mainly because I feel like sometimes my brain's not working lately. There's just so much going on. But I am gonna try to get you guys some more content out. I have like a huge list on my phone here of projects I want to get out. Feel free to comment below with projects you'd like to see, or the content you'd like to see, anything you'd like to learn about. I'll do my best to show you what I can. And if you don't learn how to do it from me, you'll learn how not to do it from me. So for instance, this was my first time really working with fiberglass, and I have to layer another layer on it, but we'll see how it goes. I'm either going to be showing how to do it, or I'm going to show people how maybe not to do it. I don't know. Thanks for watching and all your support through this hurricane. Yeah, it had us stressed to the max. I thought I was losing my home. I really did. I thought, if I lose my home, how am I going to work at the hospital where I do 2 days a week? How am I going to do that? Because if most of the homes are gone, likely the rental market would be sky high. I wouldn't be able to afford to stick around here. I would have to move back up north to probably Iowa or South Dakota, where my family is, stay with them and work at the hospitals there in order to build up enough money to be able to afford our deductible. I mean, the deductible on our home for a loss, I think, is like $5 grand. I know that might not sound like crazy money. I probably would have to sell the Tandem Island or something, and some of the other stuff I have to try to have enough money to rebuild a home. I don't know. And even then, the contractors would be so swamped down here, they wouldn't have the time probably to rebuild for a very long time. So there's all this stuff that was running through my head, and I'm just trying to put that into perspective so you guys know kind of, if you ever move down here, these are what people deal with. It's the risk with the reward. The reward is living close to the water, beautiful water, fun things to do, but the risk is you could lose it. You could lose it all relatively easily with a hurricane. And we have another one right behind called Hurricane Maria, and we don't quite know where Hurricane Maria is going yet. So this is things that just become part of daily life. Yeah, you'll pass. Well, hey, here's the deal. If you guys come to visit Southwest Florida, Cape Coral area, reach out to me. You know, if I'm available, you know, I'm just an average Joe. I'm not, you know, some crazy guy that's not gonna, you know, hang out with people. I mean, if you guys send me a message and you're in the area, we'll take some kayaks out and we'll go. I mean, if I have kayaks for enough people, we'll make it happen. So you guys, if you want to just visit and not move down here, that's fine too. I'll take care of you guys. We can take out the Hobie Tandem Island or something. Do I do a lot of fishing? Not as of lately, no. I got all the gear set up for it, but lately I have been slammed with everything. It's been very, very busy. The hospital, I'm putting in overtime. Some of the nurses that I work with had 40 some hours of overtime last week. I mean, it's nuts. There's just that much of a need right now. It's pretty crazy. So I have not been able to do a lot of fishing lately. I'm hoping to get back to that in the next few weeks and be able to go and start doing more. And actually in the next few weeks is when I get that that Viking Pro Fish Reload Z. It's the one that I filmed at iCast. They're gonna send me one, and I'm gonna hopefully get that rigged up. That was something I was really excited about. I wanted something that was I wanted to get back to the paddling and not necessarily the pedaling. I love pedaling, but I wanted to have a really good paddle kayak, and that was the one that excited me the most. So I'm gonna be making that my primary paddling kayak. If I'm ever in Vegas, I have not been to Vegas yet, so that would be really cool. I've been to Colorado. I mean, I don't know. I've been to the Colorado River. We went whitewater rafting. Gosh, that was a long time ago. I was like in Boy Scouts then. Go-to baits. So around here, you can't go wrong with shrimp, really. But shrimp is not very selective. It catches like everything. So you might catch a lot of junk fish. Pinfish and you know, like greenbacks, those are pretty good for catching snook and reds and things like that. But then you have to catch the bait, which can be pretty tough sometimes. Basically what you look for is on the surface of the water, you look for what looks like rain, like a concentrated area of rain, and that's usually bait fish under there. They call them bait balls, and you can see them on your fish finder. There'll just be several little like white dots in like a cluster, and it will be suspended in the water column, not touching the bottom, and that's a bait ball. And if you throw a casting net there, you can usually catch a whole bunch of them. You also catch mullet. They're in bait balls sometimes. So mullet, pinfish, greenbacks, those are some of the real common baits that people are using for live baits. They'll hook them up depending on how they're gonna fish, and they'll catch all sorts of fish here. For artificials, my go-to artificials. I'm not sponsored by anyone, so you're gonna get the real deal of what I use. I like the Voodoo shrimp, and the Voodoo shrimp, I believe, are the ones, I'm pretty sure that's, because I've tried 2 different ones. The Voodoo shrimp have like a segmented tail, and it has nylon embedded in it, so it's very durable, and it flexes and it does a really lively movement. And then I use Procure shrimp scent on it, and I had good luck with that. I would use it in the canals here at night on the green dock lights, and I had pretty good luck that way. I also, there's, oh gosh, what is the name of it? There is a swim shad that has an integrated leader in it, and I'm struggling to remember the name of it, but the 9-inch black ones have been doing really well down here for tarpon. People will use them near the bridges, because the bridges have some lights, and the tarpon were going crazy for those. People told me, when in doubt, use darker colors first. Yeah, so they have an integrated wind up leader, and what happens is the fish grabs the tail, and there's a hook there, and just the hook ends up grabbing the fish, and it separates. So the whole shad is actually maybe 12 inches or more away from the hook. So it's not destroying the shad every time, because some of these toothy fish will destroy a shad in no time. So, oh, I know what it's called. It's called Spool Tech. Spool Tech shad swim bait or whatever. Spool Tech swim bait. It has an integrated wind-up leader. They're pricey. Like the 9-inch ones, I think, are like 19 bucks, but they have an integrated steel leader, and it's pretty cool. Yeah. So I was told go with darker ones. Other things that work well down here is the hoagie lures. I think that's how you pronounce it. Like the 8 to 9-inch ones of those, black, work really well. And pretty much people are telling me, when in doubt, use the darker colors first and then go to other colors. Chartreuse color, it's kind of a lime green color. The shads that have like brown specked glitter with the chartreuse color tails, those are a common one that people like down here. Live target sardines and live target mullet, they're swim baits. Those are really good down here in the canals as well. Lee Alameda, I believe it, I think I pronounced his name right. He's down in Hawaii. His son lives out here, and he's a big fisherman. And him and I went on the canals, and we had snook going after the live target swim baits. And the cool thing about them is the back fin actually acts as a weedless guard, like a weed guard with the hook. So that's a cool feature about them. You don't get snagged on things. You can fling them underneath, you know, docks, and so like there's all these docks. A lot of them have green lights that attract fish. You boil yours first. I've never heard of people doing that. Yeah, what was it? There's oh, there is actually another project I'm working on. I am working on a scupper mounted underwater light. It softens the plastic fin. Well, okay. No, I mean that makes sense. It might be something I have to look into. Hey, no problem, Eddie. Yeah, I really like doing these live feeds, because I think what I don't like about YouTube is I just create content, I put it up on the web, on YouTube, and I don't get to interact with you guys. So I see just, oh great, I have 16,000 some subscribers, but I don't get any connection with them. I mean, yeah, they'll comment below on my videos and I'll try to reply to them, but it doesn't feel as connected. So I really like the live feeds here, and honestly, it lets you get to see more of a real me. I have a tendency probably to edit that out on my videos to try to make them more professional, but really I'm just an average Joe that has a major passion for kayaking, and I just really put in the time to try to learn as much as I can about, each model and everything. So here's the wife at the moment. She's probably letting me know that there's food available. So we ordered Chinese takeout because we had about enough working for today and we didn't feel like cooking. So we're those people. We order Chinese takeout, and we have messy homes and messy garages, and we're the average person. I mean, we're nothing crazy. So anyway, yeah, if you have any more questions, comment below and I'll do my best to answer them. And yeah, it's the same look you get from me. Yeah, it was the look of like, hey, are you about done here? Are you gonna come inside because the food's getting cold? Yeah, well, oh well. So anyway, I probably better go in. Happy wife, happy life. About to eat corn dogs. I haven't actually had that for a while. I had hot dogs and stuff, but I haven't had corn dogs for a while. We ate ramen actually during the hurricane, so anyway, take care. Have a good evening too. We'll see ya.